Welcome everyone. We are starting the webinar now. My name is Sushil Kumar. I'm representing Path Infotech and I will be moderating the webinar today. I would like to thank all of you for joining us. I hope you are taking care of yourself and staying safe. This is the second part of our webinar series on infinite possibilities in the cloud. In today's webinar, we will share some insights into how world is moving from new normal to new future. Next slide, please. We will also cover cloud economics, optimize cost, and unlock the power of innovation by migrating to cloud. What are the possibilities on the cloud? And how adopting cloud is a journey and not a single step. We will also have a case study for you, followed by Q&A round. Next slide, please. Just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. Audience line will remain muted during this session to avoid the background distractions. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. As we mentioned, there will be a Q&A round at end of the session and we will address your question at that time. This session is also being recorded and the recording link will be shared with all the participants post webinar. So let us begin today's session with a quick recap of what we covered in our last webinar, which was on infinite possibilities on cloud. We explored VDI as one of the options on cloud. We spoke about how VDI works and how it supports digital workspaces. We also spoke about the benefits and limitations of VDI and showcased some of the use cases of VDI. Now I would like to introduce our speaker for the webinar today. We have Mr. Prabir Kundo, who is AVP Pre-Sales and Delivery at Path Infotech. Prabir has a rich IT experience of more than 25 years working with organizations across industries and geographies, out of which he got 15 years of experience working on different Oracle technologies. He has a deep fundamental knowledge in cloud solution architecture and infrastructure. Prabir is also a subject matter expert in data privacy and security. He is deeply invested in addressing customer challenges and helping organizations in their cloud journey. Hi Prabir, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Sushil. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good, glad to have you here. Now I would request Prabir to take the journey forward and give us an insightful session. Over to you, Prabir.
Thanks, Sushil. Hi, all. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining the session. Hope all of you are doing great, keeping yourself safe and healthy during this tough time. COVID-19 is here for almost 1 year. In this short period of time, it introduces lot of changes in our personal and professional life. We realized the importance of environmental and self-hygiene, social distancing. IT leaders realized the importance of BCP plan, high availability of the IT equipments, remote work, all those. Today, I'll share few of my experience on how the IT leaders planning to move from new normal to the new future by utilizing cloud infra. So now we are on new normal where left side, so if you see, so we are working from home. We are connecting our enterprise environment, our applications, databases over the internet through VDI or SSL VPN or IPsec VPN. So Susil talked about VDI. In the last sessions, we explained how how VDI can help to connect your on-premise environment securely. Today, our main concern would be the servers which are running, desktops, applications, and storage which are running on-premise. So how you can utilize the cloud options to move from new normal to new feature for the sustainable response. So all of the time, the IT leader, they're worried about the database application servers, which is running on premise. So what is happening because of the restrictions movement? So they always worried about that environment. We'll discuss a couple of uh, case studies on that and how we can, how you will be utilizing those cloud services to make your life easy. Now there will be some poll questions. I would request Susil to poll the questions. Susil, can you please help me on this?
Sure, Prabir. So there is a poll on your screen right now. Please take a moment to answer the question. Thank you so much, everyone. Prabir, please proceed.
Thanks. So now I will go through few of the survey done by renowned organizations. As you see, there is a projected growth of cloud is 17%, which means customers, IT leaders, they already started thinking to move towards cloud. 91% IT leaders, they are moving towards cloud strategy to accommodate the new normal. And 30% organizations, they have full-fledged DR, which means 70% may not have full-fledged DR. Maybe they are partial DR, or maybe they are relying on backup and restore process, which is lying on their own data center. There is a possibility of 100% growth on the desktop as a service. VDI, we talked about VDI. So using VDI, how like that will help you to connect your environment securely. So IT leaders, they realize and they recognize the VDI is the option. So there is a possibility of 100% growth. Also, they realize that there is a 25 times scalability and availability is possible on cloud instead of on-premise environment. There was a survey done by Gartner. So there is a myth or truth, like everybody is in mind that if I move to cloud, cloud is expensive. So this survey was done by Gartner. They did a TCO analysis. Uh, they moved around 2,500 servers, like based on the 2,500 servers which are running on-premise, and it was moved to IaaS. And this graph shows that how you can get advantage of cloud and get and you can optimize your cost. And so initially, so how this cloud journey happens. Your environment, all the environment is running on premise. You will plan for the migrations. So initial days, there will be obviously there will be some cost because you will be migrating your environment. You will be using some tools. You will be using your resources to migrate. So there is a migrations investment, and same time your on-premise environment will be running, and also you will be utilizing your cloud services. So cost initial days, initial couple of weeks or maybe months, your cost will increase. Once migrations done, migrations completed, after that you will see there is a reductions of cost, meaning slowly you will be reducing your workload from on-premise environment and your cloud will be stable that time. Once everything is done, then you will be doing the right sizing. I'll explain more detailed about this right sizing and all those things. How you can reduce this. But once you move to the cloud, then everything is moved. Now you will be doing the right sizing. You will be using the cloud features to minimize the cost, and also you may use the cloud native applications to do the further optimization. Also on cloud, you can do the scheduling of you can implement policies to auto shutdown, auto stop, auto start of the environment. Like you'll be having non productions environment. only the office people like who is working during the office hours, they will be using those environments. So at night, you may not need those. You can do the scheduling to set, there are tools available on the cloud. Using that tool, you can do auto stop of those environment. And in the morning, maybe 9 a.m., 10 a.m., once your office start, it will automatically start up the services, and it will be available for the for your users. After once that is done, then you can do the further optimizing by moving to maybe autonomous features of utilizing the autonomous features of the cloud. Maybe you can move to the open source applications or database which are available on cloud. You can move your databases to PaaS options. Those are possible. So, and by this way, so this is based on 2500 servers, so that's why it took long time. But if you have lesser number of servers, this time period will be reduced. And we see that at around 50 to 55% cost advance, cost or benefit you can get after once you fully migrate to the cloud and you do the proper utilizations of the cloud services. So these are the key factors you should consider to get benefit from cloud, like right sizing. In on-premise environment, normally you factor your servers based on the peak use, peak utilization. Let's say normal days, off peak hours, your server take only 4 core, and processors they need only 4 core or maybe minimum RAM. But during peak load, it may take uh, maybe 8 core or even more. So you will consider your on-premise environment based on the peak load. But on cloud, there is a possibilities. You can use the cloud features. So based on the requirement, normal requirement, you can do, like, let's say you can start the environment with 4 core only, and once there is a requirement, you can use the elasticity features of the cloud, like scale up and scale down is easily possible. And by this way, you can save the cost. Meaning, on cloud there is options like the time, like maybe you are using for 1 hour, so you'll be paying only for the 1 hour rest. Once you set down those instances or reduce those instances, you'll not have to pay. So that way you can you can save cost on by moving cloud, by right sizing, by using the elasticity features. Let me take one another examples, like for the peak load, maybe you need more resources. So there are auto scaling features available on cloud. You can configure your instances such a way so that if your CPU utilization reaches up to 80%, it will automatically add another instance. It will serve the customers, your users' requirement. Once that is done, and maybe your load on the servers decreased, it's go to below the threshold, it will automatically shut down that instance. That way you can save the cost. And then further, you can do further optimizations by using cloud native services. Like there are autonomous database available, autonomous which can do auto tuning, and then auto secure and auto patching. Those options also available. There are DevOps options, like if your developer team they want to use the DevOps things, that is also available. There are open source, even for the few proprietary database, you can move towards the open source database. Those are also available on cloud. So by using cloud native services, you can reduce your cost further. And there are multiple type of storage available on cloud. Based on your requirement, you can use those storage. Like we generally see that most of the applications they have multiple type of data. One is frequently used data. Some storage, it must be directly attached to the servers itself, your operating systems and all. So those are frequently used data that needs definitely the high-end storage. And then you have some infrequent data like file storage, or maybe your backup which you are taking maybe every day at the day end. So those infrequent data you can store on the object storage, and th there are a few data which you need only for the compliance purpose. So normally, as per government rules, you have to regulatory authority. So you have to keep your data for 7 years. So by keeping those data on object storage or block storage, you will have to pay more. Instead of keeping there, you can move to the archival storage. So all storage, all different type of storage has different price. Like object storage is costlier than you can sorry, block storage is costlier than object storage is less costly, and then archival storage is more cost effective. So that way you can reduce minimize your cloud expenditure. Once that is done, you have to continuously measure and monitor your environment, and that way you can improve. Like once after migrations to the after everything is running on the cloud, you'll have to continuously monitor and measure. Like maybe after 2 months or 3 months, you will realize that the number of core vCPU or OCPU or RAM you provided to that particular instance, those may be not utilized, underutilized. So in that case, you can reduce the number of core. That way you can save the cost, and you can implement the automations feature. So there are so many automations or tool available on cloud. Using that, you can do like let's say your developer needs a environment to test their one of the applications. They need to spin up the instance. So using that automations tool with some approval process, the developer they themselves can spin up the instance, and once that is done, they can shut down those instances. So there is a approval process available. So once they request, it will go to the approver, they will approve. Once that is approved, the instance will spin up for them, and they will be able to utilize those. So in that way you can reduce your administrative cost. Your infra team will be free. So and then so that is one way to reduce the cost. Another is configurations management. You have to continuously manage your configurations like CPU, memory. Those you can scale up and scale down based on your requirement. This is a feature of cloud. And then monitoring and performance. So you have to continuously monitor the environment, then only you will be able to know like how to do the further performance enhancement. And your governance and compliance, that should be always in place, so that there if there is any threat, security or vulnerability threat is there, it should automatically give you an alert, and based on that you can take actions on that. And obviously once you do all those things, you have to do the resource final goal is to do the resource optimizations, and that way to cost your the cost savings on cloud or on your environment. So what are the benefits, why you should move to cloud? So there is a increase in business agility on the cloud. You can get that. Digital transformations, what is that now? So nowadays we are talking there is a different type of requirement is coming from the users, like they want to do uh what WhatsApp implementations, WhatsApp integrations with your existing applications, legacy applications. So there is another requirement. They want to like there are equipments coming into the market which is IoT. So that you want to do the analysis of your devices. There is a chatbot, like resource you putting the chatbot into the applications on cloud is possible because you have those digital assistant services available on cloud, IoT services available on cloud. So by moving your legacy applications, you can add those services to your applications, and you can move towards the digital. You can digital transformations, make your digital transformations journey faster and easier. reduce the another benefit is the reductions of cost. So because whatever I talked about, like IoT services and then integration services, those are available on cloud. If you try using those services, your development time or development cycle will reduce. And by using those auto scale right sizing feature, you can reduce your cloud spend. And availability. Normally on the on-premise environment, you will always consider high availability, maybe active passive or maybe active active. There are databases which can run as active active. There are some databases which can run on active passive mode. Applications also, you put multiple application servers, you put load balancers. So those there is a cost onto it. But once you move to cloud normally for the IaaS, all the cloud service provider, they are giving 99.95% uptime. So meaning by default, you are getting high availability once you move to the cloud, and it's running on the multiple availability zone. At least they have 2 or 3 availability zone. If one site is down, another one zone is down, another zone is available. So meaning you don't have to worry about your environment, whether that is available or not, is running properly or not, or if anything goes wrong in my data center, what will happen? So that is another benefit. And then time to go live. So on-premise environment, if you want to publish new services or new applications, what you have to do, you have to procure, you have to first planning, then you have to procure the hardware, you have to implement, configure those hardwares, implement the security, then install your applications. All those need some time. But on cloud, once you decide to subscribe for the services, there are multiple way to subscribe. You can go with trial options, and then if trial is foolproof, everything, if you see that everything is fine, working fine, you can go with the regular mode, like you can go live your applications on cloud itself. And so that way, once you decide to move to cloud, your go live time will be reduced, and business continuity planning will be easy. If you are like, you want to keep your on-premise environment as is, you don't want to move that, but you have partial DR, partial DR is available, you want that to make it full-fledged, you can easily go to the cloud, and your DR site you can run on cloud. So what is the benefit you will get on the by moving your DR on cloud? You don't have to invest on the hardware. You and is you can do, or you can use the scale up and scale down features. Like normally when you configure the DR, you configure the DR on the physical on premise environment, you configure with maybe 50% workload, meaning if anything goes wrong on the production site, your DR site will be running on or with 50% workload. On premise environment, I'm talking about on premise environment. But in cloud, you can configure the DR with 25% resources, so that your replications will happen normally. And once there is a actual disaster, you can scale up that DR site to 100%, and you can move all your workload on your all your users requests to that particular DR site, so that there will be no impact on the performance, and user will get the same performance from the DR site as well. So that way you can so these are the benefits on cloud, and that way you can cloud will be, you will get more benefit by moving to cloud. And at the right side, there is if you see, there are some survey done by renowned organizations, and they did this survey with 341 CXOs, and then government 110 government organizations. They confirmed that yes, cloud is more secure. The 60 around 65 to 66%, they said that cloud is secure, and cost reductions is also possible. Around 41 and 42% says that cloud cost reductions is possible by moving to cloud. And scalability, they said that around 34% to 41% IT leader said that yes, cloud is scalable. Ease of use, around 40 to 41% said that yes, it is very easy to use. And the speed, you'll get uh, like 38%, they said that yes, speed is there. So let me give one example here. One customers, they are running their on-premise environment, and they are running their it was running on HA mode. They moved to cloud and on a standalone mode. As I said, that cloud is by default you will get 99.95% uptime. So that's why they moved to only standalone instances. And after moving to cloud, they said that yes, I'm getting the similar performance which I used to get on the on-premise environment. That means that speed is there on cloud. So cloud is a journey. If you decide today, so there are a couple of stages. You have to go, at least four stages are there. To move to cloud, you have to go through all the stages. First, you have to assess your existing environment, where you will be collecting the inventory of your existing on-premise environment, how though, like what type of applications you have, what all databases you have, what are the integrations is there, like it may be internal applications integrated each others, maybe some external applications is there to integrate that applications. So you have to collect all those informations. You have to uh, create Excel sheets and then see uh, like what is the current applications inventory and how they are integrated each other. Once you collected all these informations, then you have to do the gap analysis. Like few of the applications that may not be supported on cloud or may not be available as is on cloud, you may need to do some changes over there. So that analysis you have to do. And obviously you have to go for like whether it will be a private cloud, it will be a public cloud or hybrid. So that after in this assessment, you have to do that assessment too. Once that is done, then you have to create your own like architecture blueprint. So you have to under designing, you will be doing the technical feasibility, and then you have to fulfill those gap whatever is there. So you have to create the architectural gap assessment, and you have few applications you may need to change as per cloud uh, features, or you can make it cloud native, you may need to change some code as well. And then architectural implementation support that is there under the design. Now you have done the assessment, you have done the architectural blueprint is ready. Now you have to do the lift and shift to the cloud, right? So for that migrations plan will be there, like how you want to do the migrations of the environment, whether you will be using any tool or not. There are tools available on cloud. Cloud service provider, they are giving that tools. Also third party tools also available to migrate those. And once you decide those tools, once you decide those migration strategy, then you have to do the you have to implement that. First you will have to create the network, you have to create the security rules, all those things. And once that is done, then you have to install and configure those applications. Few applications you can move as is, few applications you may need to reinstall, may need to install over there, and may need to deploy over there. Once that is done, and then you have to consider the migrations sorry integrations part. Like your application is integrated with maybe third party, maybe some bank, maybe your partner, or maybe your vendor is also using those. You are connecting to those applications through API. So that you have to consider, and you have to do that. And after moving, you have to maintain the environment. Why you need? So up to this, so if you see the first graph, like where you see that initial days, yeah, it will be costly, but once you go through this maintenance cycle, then you'll know what is the usage of your existing cloud environment. So you can do the further optimizations of that environment. You will be moving few of the applications to the open source applications. You will be moving, you will be doing the scale up and scale down, and you will continuously monitor the applications and access from the who is accessing that, and based on that you can enhance your security policies or all those things. And also you will have to check the DR and BCP plan, BCP on a regular basis. So maintenance here, actually you will be doing further optimizations of your environment to save your cost. Now we'll go through few of the case studies, how the IT leaders or customers they are doing, how they are getting benefited by moving to cloud. Here, one of the case, this is one they are running their infra on premise. To save their cost, they move that application. It's a EBS application or Oracle EBS application. It was running on premise, so it was hosted on third-party data center. So they find that to reduce the cost, they they migrated that environment to cloud. Their productions, UAT, SIT, all the environments they moved to cloud. And what are the benefits they get? Is high availability. As I said, cloud is by default is high availability feature is there. By default is secure feature is there. So and then 24 by 7 support is there from the backend for the infra. And you have it's always OpEx model. And but they are started using those cloud bursting features, which is scale up and scale down to minimize their cost. This is another organization. So this migration, this is done by recently. This was done. So they had around 250 servers which was running on premise. They are using multiple databases like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL. So this is and also they are using the DevOps. So they wanted to use the DevOps, and for that they don't wanted to invest more money on the on-premise environment. So what they decided, they moved to cloud. And also few of the databases they moved to RDS or PaaS options, where the management, most of the management of the databases will be done by the cloud service provider. And few of the databases they moved from proprietary database to open source database like PostgreSQL. uh, and once that is done, then now they utilize the cloud native features, like there are options available. Or I talked about autonomous automations tools, those are available. They started using those autonomous tools for automatic spin up the instance, shut down the instance. And also for the BCP they use the cloud native tools to replicate those environment, including database and application server, to the DR environment. What is the benefit? High availability. Again, the same benefits: the high availability, scale up and scale down features, cost savings of there, and then efficiency. Efficiency was there on the cloud environment, and cost reductions. And then uh, there is a OpEx that is a by default feature of the cloud. This is another EBS application. So it was a platform migration. As I said last time, in the previous slides, like you have to do the gap analysis, like few of the environment which is not supported on cloud. Like if the environment is running on Unix, HPUX, AIX, or Solaris, so you cannot move as is because those are not available on most of the public cloud. So what you have to do, you have to do the platform migration. So that gap analysis should be there, and the assessment on the designing phase. So what we have done, we migrated those environment from that EBS applications from Unix environment to Linux. And This was done while migrating, moving to the cloud. Meaning it was not two-stage. We will directly migrate that the Unix environment to Linux environment directly on the cloud. Right? So, and again, for the same benefit, so I'll not repeat the benefit, but it will be the same high availability, cost savings, and all those. So cross platform migration is also possible, and customer is doing that. And there is a savings of the cost, like legacy, maintaining legacy hardware, right? So if you have to maintain those legacy hardware, you have to spend more money over there. So now after moving to cloud, that they don't have to pay any more on the legacy hardware. This is one of the DTH connection service provider. They were running their multiple Oracle databases on premise on Exadata machine, and databases was between 5 TB to 15 TB. They initially they were running their DR on premise environment, but with a 50% workload. What they what was the challenge on that on-premise environment DR? Like if they're always worried if anything goes wrong, my productions environment, productions is running on Exadata, but my DR is running on commodity hardware. If anything goes wrong, my productions environment, what will happen if I have to fail over to the DR side? So we had a discussions with them. We suggested them go with ExaCS. Ex Similar Exadata machine is available on cloud, which is on subscription model. So and you can spin up those ExaCS based on your current requirement. And whenever there is a so other features like scale up and scale down features is the by default features of the cloud. So those are available. So that is also meaning if you are looking for large database DR, that is also possible on cloud by utilizing different cloud services, maybe bare metal services, or maybe engineer machines which are available on cloud. This is recently we have done this. So one of the customers, they are running their productions environment, and their DR was they are relying on backup and restore, and that backup was on premise only. Meaning, if anything goes wrong on their productions environment, or any like maybe power cut, or maybe total shutdown of the data center, they cannot move to the DR side since all the backup is there, right? So what we have suggested that we created their DR on cloud, and it was running on Windows and Linux environment. So meaning, what is the benefit they get? It's a zero capex and 50% savings on their TCO. Meaning, we have configured their DR site with with 50% the resource with 50, like their productions was running with 8 core, and the DR we have configured with 4 core. So that way, so that is required only for the replications. So in in future, if they need that DR to be run as same as productions, they can easily scale up that. Okay? So that way they are started getting so there is zero capex, 50% savings on the TCO, and another requirement from the regulatory authority that should be DR compliant. Initially, they are not DR compliant, BCP compliant, because of everything is running on the same data center. Now they are DR compliant. Yeah, that's it from my side. Maybe I'll request Susil to poll questions over here, and over to you, Susil, for the Q&A session.
Sure, Prabir. So there's a poll on your screen. I would request if you could answer the poll. So, thank you everyone for your answers. And once again, thank you, Prabir, for such a wonderful session. We will go ahead and take some time for questions now. Just a reminder to everyone, please be sure to type your questions into the questions box in your control panel. So it looks like we have few questions posted by the audience. Thank you for the same. We will try to cover as many questions as we can. So first question, Prabir, which is coming from audience is, he's asking, my application is running on AIX platform and he's looking to migrate this applications on cloud. So he's asking, is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible. If you see by one of the case studies where we have migrated from HPX to Linux environment, and after moving that, one of the feedback from the customer is whatever performance they were getting from the HPX environment, which is running on premise, and then they are getting the similar performance after moving to cloud. Yes, that is very much possible, and customer is doing that.
Yeah, thanks, Prabir. I believe this answer your question. Uh, we have next question coming from audiences. He's asking, initially we were not having DR. Now, due to this pandemic, we sense there are a need of a DR. Can you suggest a cost-effective DR on cloud?
Yes, see the BCP plan. If you see my last case studies, that is actually exactly the same requirement where customer is running their production site on premise, and they are relying on backup and restore. They don't have any full-fledged DR, right? Cloud. So they decided, we had a discussions, couple of round of discussions with them. After that, they decided to move to cloud, and DR is very much possible on cloud, and it's real and it's running. So yeah, and the cost benefit, like for if you're going to configure this DR environment on premise, and if you planning to run that DR environment with the same performance, which is running same as productions environment. So if on-premise environment, you have to end up spending more money, and if you move to cloud, actually you can configure that cloud DR with lesser resources, core, CPU, RAM, and whenever actual disaster happens, you can utilize those scale up and scale down features to increase those and resources, and you can run your productions workload as is on the DR environment. Once that is done, you can again reduce the resources to save the cost. That way, you can save your say, yeah, the DR on cloud is possible, and cost savings also possible if you configure your DR on cloud.
Thanks, Praveen, for answering that question. So we have one more question coming is, how the resources are provisions for peak load and lean load?
Okay, so that one initially, so what will happen? Normally, when you do the migrations first time, you will configure as is whatever your environment is running on premise. If it is running on 8 core, you have to use the 8 vCPU or 4 OCPU on the cloud. Once you configure that, then you'll keep on you'll be running those environments for maybe for a couple of weeks or couple of months. After that, you will see the actual usage pattern, and based on that, you can reduce the number of processors, number of cores, or number of RAM. Also, there are cloud providers, they're giving auto scaling features where actually you will be using those features by when there is a peak load. Using this feature, you can automatically you can configure a threshold like 80%. I need more processors on that. So what it will do, it will add more instance to that particular environment. It will do the all the users will connect to that environment automatically. They don't have to do anything, so they will get the similar performance. Once that is done, once that utilizations of resources reduce, it will automatically shut down that instance. That way you can save the cost, and that is the benefit of cloud, where you will get, uh, and those auto scaling features, auto shutdown features. Those are native features of cloud. You can utilize those services, and you will be benefited by doing this.
Thanks, Praveer. Praveer, so there was one more question from the same person. He's asking, when migrating to cloud, what about technical management of the database and application? What about the security issue?
Okay, so few of the security issues that will be taken care by the cloud service provider itself, and few of the security issues it will be taken care by the customers. It will be a shared model. All the instance related securities, whether it's IAS and PaaS, that will be taken care by a cloud service provider. But the database related, your applications access, or all those things, you'll have to take care those. And one of the good news is that most of the, like, let's say you are using firewall, Palo Alto firewall on premise. Maybe your team is familiar on that. So cloud service provider or the service provider, the OEM for the Palo Alto, they are giving this tool. They are making that tool as a cloud native, and they are giving to their marketplace. So that means you can utilize the same services, same firewall on cloud, and you can maintain the security whatever you are maintaining on premise environment. Same security you can maintain on cloud. Meaning you don't have to scale up your engineers skills. So same engineers can maintain that security or on cloud. That is possible. I have taken only one name, but there are multiple firewall service provider. They are publishing those images on cloud, on the specific cloud service providers marketplace. It's
Yeah.
just pick and choose and then use those services.
Hmm. Thanks for answering that question, Prabir. Prabir, one more question. He's saying, I have a SAP production server on premises with Oracle as a database. Can you suggest the cost-effective solution on DR? And thus, they are using SAP is running on HPUX 11.3 server.
Okay, so this one, since it's running on HPUX on cloud, there is HPUX is not available. So, but DR on cloud may not, it will not possible for this environment. It should be either Unix or Linux environment. Then only you will be able to utilize the cloud as a DR.
Yeah, thanks, Prabir, for answering this question. We have one more question coming is, he's saying, I'm using MS SQL database license on premises. Can I bring my DB license on cloud?
Yes, you can, provided you have SA, software assurance from the Microsoft. Then only you'll be able to bring. Otherwise, it will not allow. So then you have to buy the subscriptions from the cloud service provider.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So with that, thanks, Prabir, for answering all this question. So with that, we end this webinar. Thank you, Prabir, for this informative session. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time and joining us. We really appreciate you being here. Hope you found this session interesting and informative. If you have any questions for us, kindly do email us. My email ID is sushil.kumar1@pathinfotech.com. We will also share the recording of this webinar with all of you very soon. We have more webinars coming in future, and if you are interested to be a part of this our upcoming webinars in series, please do sign up on our website or follow our LinkedIn and social media pages for more information. Once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.
Thank you all.